Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I'm David Zabransky, your host. You can see me on Twitter. Corey will put that up. You can call here. Corey will put that up. You can email here. Corey's going to put that up on the screen also. Sin of Retirement is out and live. The Sin of Retirement is a book that I wrote about retirement and about maintaining your mission, your purpose, your calling in retirement. And I want you to read that. And you can get that on the website for the Sin of Retirement, which is sinofretirement.com. Corey will put that up so you could see it too. And that's going to be scrolling below us. We have a missions trip in March of 2026. And if you want to go in on that, you should contact me now because you got to get a visa to go there. And it's not a lot of work to get the visa. It's more of a cash grab by the country of Brazil, but you got to get going on it. So, and if you don't have a passport, you need a passport. Also, the ebook is out for the Sin of Retirement. And if you go to the website, you can get some really cool pro-American, pro-capitalist merch, which I want you to buy a lot of. These are great back-to-school clothes for the kids. And there's hats and buttons and shirts, things of that nature. Coffee cups. You can get a coffee cup that says, I suck at investing, which if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you probably, I equate it to this. If a professional carpenter walked into a job I had just finished and was very proud of, he would know that I had done it, or they would know that I had done it. When I look at a portfolio that's a homeowner portfolio, I know right away. It's rare that a homeowner portfolio impresses me. It has happened. It happened recently. But go there, drink coffee, and think about me. Start your morning off thinking about me and wearing a hat that says communism sucks, which it does. The only shirt that they wouldn't allow on the website is the one that said the only good commie is a dead commie, but it's probably not the best shirt to have on there anyway, so I'm okay with that. Well, yeah, I was on vacay last week, but I was still working. I took my Starlink with me. I had it up on the house. We were in St. Croix. We had a nice Airbnb right on the ocean in St. Croix. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but really beautiful, very low key. If you're going on a foodie vacation, don't go there. This is not a foodie place. It's a lot of barbecue, which is good. I love barbecue. We had barbecue twice, and burgers, and island service, if you know what I mean. But the kids joined us. They're older. Their significant others came. It was a great time. We went snorkeling. Yeah, it was good. Kayak. They have a bioluminescent bay there. I don't know if you've ever done a bioluminescent bay. It's kind of cool to see. But while I was there, and I should have been mad at my wife for scheduling a vacation when there was a Fed meeting. She should coordinate the schedule with the Fed meetings. And I've been married a long time, but obviously I still have training left to do because I was on vacation during the Fed meeting. Well, Chair Powell left the rates unchanged. He left the rates. And now, did we not know he was going to do this? Did we not know? We know he hates Donald Trump. The week before, Donald Trump has a way about him of making people squirm. I mean, really important people squirm. And Donald Trump and a bunch of the senior White House staff toured the Federal Reserve building that they're redoing. They're remodeling the Fed. They're putting a basement in the Federal Reserve building. There wasn't a basement there. It's kind of odd, but they're putting in a basement in this huge building. Now, mind you, the remodel is going to cost $3.1 billion. I mean, only in Washington could this happen. You could build a brand new building for way less, but they're not going to do that. It's way over budget. And Trump is talking about this in front of Powell. Powell's standing right next to him. They're taking questions from reporters. And Trump brings up the idea that this is way, and Powell's shaking his head no. And Trump reaches into his jacket pocket. He always wears a suit. I've never seen Trump in a sport coat. Always a suit. So he reaches into his suit pocket and he brings out the receipts that the Fed itself put out. And Powell's trying to explain it away, but I gotta believe this whole thing was set up to make this happen. And so I'm sure Powell does not like Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump appointed him. And he leaves the rates exactly where they're at. And I want to do something that I haven't done in a long time, but I want to defend Chair Powell here for a second, because in his defense, he had really bad numbers to look at. The Bureau of Labor Statistics puts out the jobless claims, all this economic data, and they went and revised their jobless claims by, hundreds. It's a huge revision. They haven't done a revision this big in like 50 years. And the Fed, it's not their only data point, but the BLS gives them a lot of data points, which they're relying on to figure out the health of the economy. And if their data is always wrong, and even under Joe Biden, their data was always wrong. Their data was presented way better than what it actually was. In fact, a lot of people were saying, well, this is obviously political in the favor of the Biden administration, because because as soon as Biden quit the race, they restated the data to look way worse, so that the economy was way worse than what the Democrats were claiming or the Biden administration was claiming at the time. I don't think they were doing that on purpose. I think their data just sucks. I mean, to be honest, the data that they put out is important. The Fed's relying on it, private enterprises are relying on it, and their numbers stink. And so what does Trump do? Trump fires the BLS director. And this led to a significant TDS outbreak among the dumb people in economics. They're like, oh, he's just going to put his own person in there and they're going to do whatever they want. Well, I don't think that's what this is about. Now, you just heard me defend the Biden administration in the sense that I don't think they were manipulating the numbers. I don't think they can manipulate the BLS. I mean, maybe you can. The BLS director doesn't have a lot to do with the number. They're not the one that is actually crunching the numbers, but the BLS numbers are very bad. And so the place to start is at the top, and I think the Trump administration did the exact right thing. If you were in private enterprise and you reported profit, and then restated it as a loss, as the CEO, you would be fired. And that's what they did. They fired the BLS director because everything flows downhill. We know the expression, what flows downhill? Well, you know what flows downhill. And so you're going to replace the BLS director with somebody who's going to grasp the gravity of the situation and refine the data or refine their process. I get these every once in a while. Well, they'll mail me out. They'll mail out, like in the mail, the snail mail, a questionnaire that I have to fill out. And there's no time frame on it. They say, well, fill it out, send it back. And it's not even required to send back. Sometimes I don't send it back. Only 60% of the people that they send out a survey to respond. And so their data, their available data set is shrinking, and they're trying to extrapolate these numbers across the economy. Well, it's not working. It is clearly not working. And so there is a systemic issue at BLS where their data is consistently wrong. And the data is so important that it needs to get better. A new director was in order. I have no problem with that. If it was my brother, I would have fired my brother. Now, my brother, I'm the smart one in the family. I think all the kids would agree. If you read my book, you'll find out more about why that is. I think I'm not 100% positive, but I think my brother was dropped as a baby, or maybe even thrown. I don't know. But it's not fair to my brothers and sisters, but I got the brains and the good looks. So sorry about that, guys. It's just the way it is. But I would have fired my own brother. You cannot rely on data this critical and have it be this consistently wrong over long periods of time. If I were trying to be this wrong, it would take a lot of work to be this wrong, this consistently, this often. It's just with data this important that the Fed relies on. And so I do think that the Fed made another mistake in not lowering rates, but I understand they're relying on that number. Now, they got the revision probably before everybody else, and they would have known we're going to take a lot of flack for this. So I do think that what the revised numbers show is that the economy, even though unemployment is still at 4.2%, the economy is weakening. Rate cuts are in order, but we've known this for a while. Inflation is lower, fuel prices are lower, food prices are lower. The energy costs are kind of the tail that wags the dog. And so when you think about how everything gets to everywhere, it takes a truck or a train or a plane or a boat or something like that to get here. So in the winter, our fruits and vegetables are not coming from America mainly. They're coming from Mexico and South America, so that it takes a little bit of time and effort to get them here. Well, if energy is expensive, those things are more expensive. Well, energy is falling in price, so most other prices are falling commensurately. Everything starts with energy prices, and everything ends with energy prices. So if you get energy prices down, and the Trump administration is acutely aware of this, you can get all the other prices down. And I think they're working as hard as an administration could to lower those prices. All those prices are going to come down. Inflation is falling. And prices have remained fairly stable under Trump, even with tariffs, to falling. And so you look at the 10-year Treasury and see where it's at versus where the Fed funds rate is at. They could cut 1.5% right now and be neutral. And so that's what you want to do. You want to be at the neutral. The housing market is getting hammered. People can't refinance. You look at the price of a mortgage at 7%, which is where mortgage rates are at, versus 3.5% where we want them to 4%. These numbers are dramatically different. People cannot afford mortgages at 7% the way they build houses today. Housing is very expensive. These things are going to come down eventually, but you got to get mortgage prices sub 5% to really spur the housing market, and that's where we want to be. That's where I think we're going. Will we be there by the end of the year? I don't know. I think we'll be closer. I think there's going to be 3 rate cuts this year. There should have been 5, maybe even 6. But Chair Powell has tarnished his reputation. He'll go down in the history books as a political operative. And that's unfortunate because it didn't have to be that way. He could have went down in the history books because I think he really started to lose his luster when the Biden administration's inflationary policy started and they didn't raise rates into that. They waited way too long, then they had to hurry up and they raised rates faster in history than ever before. And the Fed is typically way too late. They're just so afraid to make a mistake. They're so afraid to be called Arthur Burns. But they don't have to do those things. I mean, there's a lot more common sense to these things than economics, really, to be honest. And so I think they just made a mistake, and I think they got political about it. And that's unfortunate. So listen, buy the book, go on the missions trip, go into retirement. The whole thing about the book is going into retirement with a greater purpose than leisure. It cannot just be about that. That is a death sentence, I'm telling you. I love to golf. I don't want to do it every day. I just don't. Even golf pros don't want to golf every day. The only people that want to golf every day are people that can't do it, and that's their dream. And whatever it is, you fill in the blank. Whatever you can have, that's what you really want, because that's human nature. And I'm telling you, I've seen this so many times because of the people that we work with. The different types of retirements that we've seen. We've had people that could retire at age 30 and choose not to. And we have people that could retire at age 55 and choose to, and then end up back in the workforce because they realize this is a dead end. Now, I'm not against leisure. I was just on vacation. I love leisure in measure and in perspective. So we got to get you thinking. I want to get you thinking. We must get you thinking for a greater purpose than just retire to nothing. Because you're going to be, I'm telling you, I will be at your funeral 2 years after you retire if it's just about leisure. The calling, the mission, the purpose of your life is not leisure. Work was given to us as a gift in the Bible in Genesis chapter 2. Now, mind you, we did get kicked out of the garden in chapter 3, so not long after, we screwed everything up, which is also our nature. But that's okay. That doesn't mean that work wasn't a gift. It is a gift. So what do? Like if you're a bricklayer and you say, look, my knees are shot, my hands are hurt, my shoulders hurt, my neck is screwed up. You don't have to continue bricklaying for the rest of your life. But I don't want you to do nothing for the rest of your life, because the rest of your life will go from here to this time frame very quickly. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've witnessed it. I've counseled people against it. I used to tell people when I first got in the business what I thought they wanted to hear, and then I realized that's a mistake. People come to me for advice. When they're asking my opinion, I should give it. Now, sometimes I could couch it in a slightly better euphemistic way than what I do, but this is who I am. So somebody came in, type A plus personality, said, I finally figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to do nothing for the first year. And I said, that is the worst idea I've heard in a long time. You cannot do that. Don't do nothing for a year. Do something. Feather your way into it. And that's how I want you to think about retirement. But the book goes into much greater detail. You can ebook it. I have Melissa working on what do we call it? The spoken book? What is it called?
Audiobook.
The audiobook. Thank you, Corey. Corey's back there to remind me of the words that I can't remember, and to produce this. So remember, you can call here, you can email here, you can ask us questions. There's no cost to sit down with us. If I can keep you out of a scam, if you think you're about to get scammed, call us. I have antenna that finds scams. I've been in this business a long time, and I know what's customary and reasonable, and I can keep you out of a scam. That doesn't mean you have to work with it. You never have to work with us. Okay, we want to be a resource for you. I want you to use that resource. I love that you guys watch us. I love that you guys listen. I love that you guys are buying the book, and I want you to go on the mission trip and find a mission calling purpose for your life. It doesn't have to be my mission trip. You don't have to go to Brazil. You could do a mission trip in Lorraine. You could do a mission trip in Cleveland, Ohio. So I want you to be thinking that way, a greater purpose. It's not just about the money. I am David Safransky, a real American, a true red-blooded gun-owning patriot, and the voice you can trust.